Top 10 worst video games that I have ever played. This is going to be fun. What is going on, my Biomaniacs? BioLogicalEX1 is back in the house once again. And I have decided to make a video of my top 10 worst video games I've ever played. Now, a subscriber of mine has told me to make a video, which is a collab video of his top 10 worst video games and another subscriber of mine of his top 10 video games, and they want to collab to my top 10 worst video games that I have ever played, which is very common to the worst video games out there. But the difference is that I'm not saying what's the worst video games out there. I'm saying the worst video games that I have ever played in my lifetime. So there's mostly a similarity. I say mostly. Now, again, I want to give a shout out to two users, the Jackal Gold Kick and Larry the Batman Fan, which both of them are my subscribers, my supporters. I'll leave their names up there so you go over to their channel and support them. Tell them that BioLogicalEX1 sent them over there. Also, I will link to their videos of their top 10 worst video games that they have ever played, both Jackal Gold Kick and Larry the Batman Fan. Go check them out. Now, before I start with everything, I just want to inform everyone that these are not facts. They're honest opinions. My list is not the same like Larry's and Jackal Gold Kick. My list is not the same as everyone else. It's totally different. And it's okay to have opinions. It's okay that we have our differences. But, just don't push it and don't be a complete jerk about it. I'm just saying, no disrespect to anyone. I'm just saying, so again, because every time I do one of these top 10 worst or best games or movies or whatever, there's always this one individual that decided to be a big jerk about it and decided to argue with me, and I got no time for that. Let's get to it. Now, before I get to my top 10 worst games that I have ever played, I want to give my honorable mentions, or should I say dishonorable mentions, of the worst games that I played. First dishonorable game that I want to put on the list is Mario Time Machine for the Super NES. This game is boring, freaking boring. Don't get me wrong, I like Super Mario Brothers. I like their games, but Super Mario Time Machine should not be a Mario game. It should be just some random education game. Nothing against education games. I got nothing against it. But to me, a Mario game and an education game just didn't match that well. I mean, they tried. That's why I decided to put a dishonorable mention and not my top 10 worst. They tried, but I want to go back and play this game, But it was a try, so yeah. Mario Time Machine, my first dishonorable mention. My second dishonorable mention is Shaq Fu. I'm not a fan of fighting games, but this one is bad and lousy. Not the worst fighting games that I played, and not the worst top 10 games, but it was bad. Now, before I move forward, I just want to say that the Shaq Fu for the Xbox One, that game is awesome. That Shaq Fu for the Xbox One, that should have been ported for the Super NES and the Sega Genesis. But, it was back in '94. They probably didn't thought about that, so they decided making a fighting game, a simple fighting game. And it's not the worst fighting game I've ever played, but it was still bad. The storyline is cheesy. I've seen cringier. I mean, it was kind of cringy, but I've seen cringier. it was just not a good game at all. Shaq Fu was not a good game. So that is my second dishonorable mention. My third dishonorable mention is Grudge Warriors. This game is lame. This game is a total ripoff, 100% of Twisted Metal, which, by the way, Twisted Metal, one of the most greatest yet underrated car bashing games. Grudge Warriors, no. The only one good thing about Grudge Warriors is the character selections. I do like the animation of the character selection, but that's about it. Gameplay is sucks. It was boring, no actions. The level is just uninteresting. Everything from start to finish is just uninterested. I mean, it's not the top 10 worst game, but it was still disappointing. I would not go and play a game, especially a ripoff like Grudge Warriors, which is a total ripoff to Twisted Metal. Fourth dishonorable mention is Barbie Explorer. What do you get from Crash Bandicoot, who is the father of the games, and Tomb Raider, which is the wife of the games? Or what you do when you mix them together? You get Barbie Explorer, a totally rip-off version of both Crash Bandicoot and Tomb Raider. The controllers sucks in that game. One of the worst things, or maybe I should say the worst things that I don't like about video games, is bad controllers. Bad controllers, to me, in my book, is a red flag. When it comes to video games, right, I'm really hard on it, especially when it comes to bad controllers, because that's probably the worst thing I don't like about video games is bad controllers. Luckily, it's not in the top 10, but it was close. Barbie Explorer was close to my top 10, but apparently my top 10 worst video games is still just as bad as Barbie Explorer. Don't play this game. If you want to play a good game, play either Crash Bandicoot or Tomb Raider, okay? But not their child, Barbie Explorer. And my last dishonorable mention is Lecture Suit Larry Box Office Bus. This game sucks. Luckily, it didn't make on my worst top 10 in my book, but this game still sucks. The only good thing about that game is, I will admit, the character design was okay. That's the one thing I like about that game, is the character design. Everything else, you know, the driving, the adventures, the storyline, it just stinks. It stinks, it's lame, it's bland, it's not that good. Just the character design is the only thing I like about that game. But other than that, it sucks. But now, we're going to get on to my top 10 worst video games that I have ever played. And again, this is just my honest opinion. So starting at number 10, the worst game that I have ever played is Terminator Salvation. I like the movie, but this game sucks. Everything about this game is corny, and it's just dull and boring, okay? No actions, no great shooting scenes. Christian Bale predicted how bad the game is, and he was totally right, because he just didn't want to take his risk of his career of playing a voice acting on a crappy game, which he knew was going to be crap, like Terminator Salvation. Stay away from that game. Just stick with the movie Terminator Salvation. If you like Terminator Salvation, because I know some people tell me that they didn't like the movie either. I personally like the movie, my honest opinion, but the game sucks. That is my number 10. Number 9, Spirit of Speed 1937 for the Sega Dreamcast. I like racing games, but not this one. The Dreamcast is having a cult following of a very decent, good console. It was, well, actually, to be honest with you, I thought it was a great console when it first came out. It is still a great console to this day. But Spirit of Speed 1937 was not a good racing game. And this is coming from a person like myself who is a fan of racing games. The controllers are just way too loose. you press one little dialogue, like little point, and your race car, you know, the driver just turn like way to the left or just way to the right. It's like the controls is just so bad. You just can't pass the first stage of how loose the controllers are. The idea was great, you know, that the storyline takes place in 1937. You got these old school Formula One racing cars. I like the idea. Those were great ideas. But the execution is just poorly. It's just piss poor. And the storyline, well, let's just say it's not that interesting to most people. That's why I decided to put it on number 9. It's not a good racing game. If you're a die-hard racing fan, just stay away from this one. I mean, unless if they make another game like Spirit of the Speed 1937 with better controllers. Because again, I don't like games with bad controllers. That's my number one worst thing in the world when it comes to video games, is bad controllers. So yeah, Spirit of the Speed 1937, bad racing game, crap controllers. Stay away from that game. So that is my number 9, and it's for the Dreamcast exclusive. So yeah, what does that tell you? And not just throw shades on the Dreamcast. I still think it's a great console, but not this game. Number 8, Space Ace for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. I like Don Bluth. I like his movies. But man, Space Ace for the Super Nintendo. Oh man, what? It's like I felt like my childhood just got raped when I just played this game. The controllers in this game is just terrible. And not only that, but the gameplay itself is just even worse than controllers. Okay, if you've seen the movie Space Ace, you know what it is, okay? It's a guy that, you know what, I'm not going to even bother saying it because I don't even want to spoil it for anyone that doesn't see the movie, but take my advice, just stay away from that game, okay? You move so slow, you play so slow, the moving of the screen of the picture moves as fast as the player. And this game was made by Don Bluth. Well, not made by Don Bluth, but the movie was. The game was, I forgot which game company was made Space Ace, but I'm just glad that they're fired. I'm just so glad they're fired because they disgraced the name of Space Ace, they disgraced the movie. They had disgraced Don Bluth himself. So the creators of that game, don't ever make another video game ever again because you people suck. Space Ace, number 8. Number 7, and this is going to piss Larry the Batman fan off because this is actually one of his favorite games, but to me, and again, this is just an honest opinion, I hate this game with a passion. And that is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from 1989. I don't know what the year was made, but it was somewhere like in the late 80s from the NES. I hate this game with a burning passion. And I'm so sorry, Larry the Batman fan, that I am going to roast this game. Not as long, but just a little bit, okay? That way you don't get pissed at me. Larry the Batman fan, he likes this game. That's cool. That's his honest opinion. I'm not going to bash him for that. But what we're going to bash is how shitty this game is. This game sucks. When you first play this game, you say to yourself, oh, this ain't so bad. You know, the controls are decent. You know, the moves are pretty cool. But the main problem with this game that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has nothing to do with the TV series or the movies. Hell, it has nothing to do with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles themselves either. The levels are so beyond difficult. Now, I don't mind challenge, but holy crap. This game, the company made this game so extremely tedious and difficult, it's like you just don't want to play this game anymore. Especially when you go further levels, further to the game. Like right after the water mission, we had to deactivate the bombs underwater in the second stage. From the third stage higher, it'll break your balls. And the crazy thing is that this game is made for kids. Well, kids to adults actually. It's rated, you know, KA from kids to adults. So adults can play this game too. And I'm cool with that. But it's mainly for kids. And they make this game so dang difficult. Hell, you know what? Most of the stages in that game is just so broken because how the heck are you going to figure out what to do in the game, especially when you get onto the later levels on it? Come on, man. I mean, this game is just made for younger audience. Just have mercy on it. And I will admit, I think there's like maybe 3 things that's related to the Ninja Turtles, okay? April O'Neil, Master Splinter, and those robotic dogs later on in the game. That's about it. Everything else in the game has nothing to do with the TV series or the movies whatsoever. This game, Ninja Turtles, is a 2 thumbs down. Sorry, Larry the Batman fan, I have to. Again, if anyone likes this game, more power to you, but I hate this game with a passion. That's why it's on my number 7. Number 6, Life of a Black Tiger from the PS4. This game is a disgrace and it sucks donkey jackass balls. Donkey jackass balls. I decided, came up with that name. Donkey jackass balls. This game sucks. It's bland, it's boring, it sucks. It just sucks. It's just plain shit. I mean, this game just tried to copy off The Lion King from the Sega Genesis, and it's nowhere near as good. Like, if you play The Lion King for the Sega Genesis, which is now on the Xbox One and the PS4, that game is a lot of fun. But this game, Life of a Black Tiger, this game is so bad that it's just unforgivable to some people who don't even know what Life of the Black Tiger is. And for any of you people out there that never played this game before, I just want to say congratulations. I'll give you a handshake. Stay away from this game. This game sucks. Alright? If you want to play a good, aggressive animal game, play The Lion King from the Sega Genesis. Not this game. Stay away from it from all possible. It's nothing, and that's what it is. It's nothing. So, Life of the Black Tiger, number 6. I kind of lost count. I got my notes right here, so I'd be forgetting things. Number 5 is Kiss Psycho Circus. I like the circus, and I like the rock band Kiss. But whatever you do, take those 2 items and spread as far away as possible because it is not a good combination. Oh, by the way, it is for the Dreamcast exclusive only. It's not on the PS4 or the Nintendo 64. Kiss Psycho Circus is a first-person shooter game that is made from the Sega Dreamcast exclusive. And boy, does it blows. It stinks, it sucks, it's bad. One of the worst first-person shooter games I've ever played. You know what? I won't even call it a first-person. It's a first-person, but it's not really a shooter. It's more like a first-person slasher. But one of the worst things in this game, and it's probably maybe the worst thing about this game, is that the attacks and the slashing is so slow. It is very, very slow. Like, if you play games like a first-person shooter, okay, now for example, let's just say that you play like a Final Fantasy game and you play like a Cloud or Squirrel, a character with a big giant sword. You just swing your enemies and kill them, and the way you swing them is just fast. But here, the main character that you're playing, Kiss, his attacks is one of the worst I have ever seen in my life, because you got this sword or just a guitar, and the way you swing it is just so slow. It's like this. It's bad. It's really, really bad. That is probably one of the slowest attacks I have ever seen in my life. Maybe the top 3 slowest. I'm not sure if it's the slowest, but it was slow, and I did not like it one bit. The game is just not fun, period. Stay away from Kiss Cycle Circus whatsoever. Going to the circus is okay. Listen to the Kiss heavy metal is okay, but not this game. This game sucks. That is my number 5. Number 4, and this from number 4 and up, it's gonna get really bad. Current number 4 is Baby Kids. Again, great movie, but the game sucks. It's from the Super NES. Where should I begin with this game? Okay. When you play Baby Kids for the Super NES, the way it looks, the atmosphere, it's a 2D fighting game. When you think of 2D fighting games, you think of Streets of Rage, you think of Final Fight. Baby Kids is trying to be like that, but fail miserably. Oh, and by the way, the graphics in that game looks almost similar to the Simpsons arcade game, but it's not as good at it. Trust me. If you want to talk about like quick, funky, cartoonish graphics, 2D fighting games, the Simpsons arcade is one of the best. But Baby Kids sucks. Though the movie was great. I like the movie, even though some of the jokes in the movies were corny, but it's not as bad. The game is terrible. The game is a very poor version of a 2D fighting game. You only got one life, just one life, because if anything's happened, it's game's over and you start from the very beginning. That is how horrible that game is. And by the way, when you throw a punch at somebody, it's like there's no power to the character. You know, you hit the person, but they don't go down easily. It takes you at least maybe 10 minutes just to knock one person down for like 10 minutes. You just keep punching him, punching him, and punching him like a damn punching bag. Like you just want to punch your haters, but apparently they just won't go down. Wow. How comes that good, decent movies like Terminator Salvation and Baby Kids are so decent to watch, but the games are so bad? And you know what? There's one positive thing about Baby Kids the game, that none of the voice actors from that movie did not want to participate in that game. So that's a plus. But other than that, this game was horrible. It was bad. That is why it's on my number 4, because this game actually had potential and it bombed badly. And after that, like, no one ever wanted to talk about it or make another movie about it. I mean, it's early 90s, you know, but and I like early 90s movies, but again, disappointing. So Baby Kids, number 4. Number 3, and this is going to get real bad. Number 3 is Rap Jam Volume 1 for the Super NES. I love sports games. I love, racing, movies, basketball, hockey, baseball, football, you name them, I like. Well, except for soccer. I hate soccer, but that's for another time. Oh man, Rap Jam Volume 1 for the Super NES. What a mess. I guarantee that the creators in that game didn't even try to test it out. Like, okay, for example, let's start with the basics. Basketball. You know, okay, there's like 2 teams. There's one team, which I'm going to call it the home team, and there's another team called the visitor teams, okay? Now, there's 3 players in each team. Now, when someone has the ball, which a team has the ball, they're supposed to pass it in their own players, which, makes pretty much 100% sense. Now, what happened in that game was, right, whoever is close to you, even if it's someone on the opposite side of the team, when you pass the ball, it just automatically passes to that player from the other side of the team. Now again, if it's your own teammate, that's understandable, but when you pass it to another player just because it's so close to you, that's a big problem. And they never even try to fix the game whatsoever. I'm just terribly sorry if that fly just comes all over the place. I don't know why, I just finished washing the dishes. But, well, it is cold outside, which is why the fly is inside here in the first place, just wants to get warm. But, yeah, this game, it's broken. It's just broken. It's unplayable. It's not, even their special moves, like, you know, the cartwheels or the back flips before you dunk it, even that looks stupid. I mean, the only plus about that game is maybe the artist, I guess. I was about to say it's from Motown, which Motown makes great music, but this game's just bad. It's just really, really bad. But just don't play this game. So, yeah, Rap Jam Valley 1 for the Super NES. That game was way major 2 thumbs down. So, that is number 2. I mean, number 3. Number 2, Sonic the Hedgehog 2006. Some of you might not be surprised if this game has made it that far, especially on number 2 slot. Yeah, the game sucks from start to finish. The one good thing about this game is just great cutscenes, graphics. That's about it. The gameplay sucks, the speed sucks, the ability sucks. Bad camera angles. Very bad camera angles. Well, the controllers are not bad. It's just the camera angles are so bad. Like, the 2 things that I hate the most, is bad controllers and bad camera angles. Those are the 2 worst things on a video game that I hate so much. Is bad controllers, which is my number 1, and bad camera angles. I hate those 2 with passions. Yeah. Pixelated square graphics, I mean, they're not bad, but they're not great. But the cutscenes are great, but that's about it. The girl that Sonic the Hedgehog fell in love with, we never saw her again after that. Obviously, we know why, because a human being woman falling in love with a hedgehog, like, are you on crack or something when you thought about that idea? When you on crack that you thought that a human woman will fall in love with a furry like a hedgehog? I mean, after that game, we never seen or heard with that woman ever again, and obviously we all know why, because that game bombed so bad. It sucked. It stinks. I don't like that game whatsoever. And this is coming from a person like myself, who's a fan of Sonic. By the way, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 for the Sega Genesis is still the best Sonic game out there. But Sonic 06, yeah, just stay in the pits of hell. So that's on my number 2. And my number 1 worst game I've ever played, and probably say no shocker to some people, especially who's a diehard video game fan. I'm talking about my number 1 worst video game that I've ever played in my lifetime. Superman 64. And again, you know, some of you who are diehard video games fans, yeah, it's not a surprise that this game is just bad, you know. Again, graphics are not that great, even though it's like my least concern. Controller sucks. The obstacle course sucks. The mission sucks. The action sucks. Everything in that game sucks from start to finish. Bad controllers, bad flying. Have you ever seen Superman fly through an obstacle full of rings in any movies and TV series? I sure don't. But apparently in this game, you gotta fly through rings. I've never seen that in any Superman TV shows or movies in my entire life. This is like the first. The one good thing about this game is the opening credits song. That's it. That's all I like. Oh, and probably that comic book footage at the front in the menu screen. That looks pretty cool. And the music from the menu. That's the only good thing about I like about that game. But everything else in that game just sucks. The flying, the combat. I won't even call it a combat. I mean, do you see how the way Superman punched in that game? It's like, like, dude, punch like a man. Yeah, punch like a man. Don't look. Like, what is that? What is that, Superman? Doesn't even make you super. Like, crap. Like, I couldn't even pass that first stage. And the way he tried to lift that car is just terrible. Superman can't even lift a car properly. They just made Superman just look bad. And that's all I'm about to say about that game. That game just sucks, and just stay away from that game. Well, that is it. That is my top 10 worst video games that I've ever played, including my top 10 dishonorable mentions. What do you think in the comment sections? What do you think of my picks? Did I make the right picks of putting these games in my list? Let me know. This is BioLogicalEX1. Rate, comment, share, subscribe, hit notification. Be part of the BioManiacs. I do apologize for that fly because, again, don't get me wrong. I mean, I do clean my house. I mean, yeah, it's a little mess, but it's not like that bad though. We'll talk about my house another time though. But this is BioLogicalEX1. Have a great day and evening. Animaniacs. Again, shouts to both Jackal Gold Kick and Larry the Batman fan. They're great supporters. And I'm sure, like, if you like video game content, you know, give them a try. So again, shouts to those two, and thank you for being a supporter of the BioManiacs. So I'm out. Peace. Yeah.